Hi, this is Mark Maringer from Colorado Confidential, here with Paul Lopez from City Council District 3, candidate for City Council District 3.
How you doing?
Thanks for joining us today. I appreciate
No problem.
it. So let me just sort of get started by letting you introduce yourself as to what's your background in Denver, how long you lived here, and what's your professional background.
Definitely. I born and raised in West Denver. I grew up all over Westwood and Barnum, and as far as my background is concerned, you talking about my employment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
background.
I've been involved in our community for since I was 13 years old. I used to go walk precincts with my mother, who was a bilingual kindergarten teacher in the neighborhood over at Castro Elementary, and I've been really active. I've been able to see different parts of our neighborhood throughout my life and how they've developed and how some haven't, and how West Denver has pretty much been left in the dust in this city for the last, I don't know how long, since I can remember. And I'm sure there's folks that can remember longer than I can because of the length of time that they've been in the neighborhood, as far as their age. And one of the things that I'd like to share is that I'm a community organizer, and that's how I started. Other than washing dishes and bussing tables over at Looking Good Restaurant when I was a younger kid, I really got involved in community organizing and activism through my mother, and just seeing things in the neighborhood and being able to partake in those. I went to West High School, and I graduated. Thank God, and it was great. But it also put things into perspective because not all of us graduated, and there was a lot of folks from the neighborhood that didn't graduate, and that always stayed in my mind. But the few that did, we went on to college, and I actually graduated from CU Denver. And while I was at CU Denver, was really involved in organizing. We actually were involved in student government. I was elected the student government president in 2000, and we actually I was part of an organization and just part of an effort to make sure that there's affordable housing in Denver, and to keep housing affordable all over Denver. And we were seeing that there were a lot of areas in the west side. There were some in where East Village was. There was some in Lincoln Park, and I began to say, you know what, this is important. It's important to have a sense of civic participation, and I say civic participation because democracy isn't just about voting. Democracy is about participating in your community, and that's one of the things I'd really like to see in our neighborhood. And I hope this campaign and this vision helps generate that. And so. Currently, I'm an organizer for the Service Employees International Union, Justice for Janitors campaign here in Denver, and my father's a janitor as well. He's a member of the union as well too, and I've seen over my life, those really hard kind of decisions that a person has to make, working families have to make, especially in our neighborhood. You talk about one paying the rent or paying the hospital bill and putting food on the table and make sure your kids are close. So those are real basic needs. That working families have to face. And as far as in Denver, I'd like to make sure that that those standards are high, and that we actually.
That leads me sort of my next question, which is, what do you see as the most important issues sort of facing the district?
There are a few top issues facing the district. The top one is graffiti and crime. There is a lot of graffiti in the neighborhood, and I just actually got out of a meeting with a woman from the Public Works office with the city, and it's a very complicated issue. Right now, there's the mayor's task force on graffiti that's meeting, and they have a draft recommendation that they will probably. They said most likely they'll see passed in May or June, and in our neighborhood, we have strips like Morrison Road, Federal Boulevard, that are always incompletely tagged, and these aren't like murals all of a sudden. These are just kind of the drive-by tags.
Attractive stuff.
There you go. You paint it over, and then you're just creating a new canvas, and it's very frustrating. There's a lot of folks that are really upset about this because it is a violation of somebody's space, and and it doesn't look good in the community, and it shows that there's a lot that we have to do. Now, right away, we can say, well, it looks like there's a lot of kids with a lot of time on their hands. And in some cases, we can say, yeah, well, of course. But there's also folks that are out of school and that are young adults that are also tagging as well. And so it's there, you have different dynamics. One, and generally what people would like to see, and this is what I've been getting from knocking on over 5,000 doors in the neighborhood lately. One is making sure that we have quality after-school programs, up-to-date rec centers, up-to-date libraries, and just things that are going to develop our younger folks when in the neighborhood. When they come out of school, that there's rec centers, there's libraries, there's programs that we can keep them in, and these are the younger ones. That way they develop and they say, okay, you know, I don't need to go tagging around the neighborhood. There's also another kind of group to where they're older folks, and you know, so you're going to have kind of double-edged solutions. One, you got to put money and you got to put resources into the after-school programs and the kind of human element. And two, the punishments have to be enforced. There has to be stiff penalties for this. I mean, it's one thing to tag a bridge, you know, it's and even it's illegal. It's not cool. It's another thing to tag an old woman's garage door, and someone that cannot get out there and paint it. They can't afford the paint, doesn't have the energy, and probably cannot do it. And what I've been seeing in the neighborhood is a lot of that. And you know, we have 6 trucks that are going around in the neighborhood. The city does, and they have one boom truck that has a kind of can go over 2 stories. The city spent over. Last year, the city spent just about in the ballpark of $933,000 on just the graffiti part of it. And then and then this year the budget for 2007 is over $1 million. And so what we're seeing is this problem isn't going away unless we start activating folks in the neighborhood. And the thing is, you know, it's like I said, it's a complicated issue, but I think if we can get folks behind an effort. And get folks excited about, hey, you know what, let's actually take this issue by the horns. Let's get people excited about it. Let's increase our neighborhood watch programs. Let's work with the law enforcement. Let's reach out to DPS, and let's put our heads together and try to reduce this. Like I said, you know, we'd like to send our young people to college and not to jail. But another couple of issues. One is economic development in our district, and it's reviving and refreshing and creating a thriving West Denver that it deserves to be. I mean, we're a neighborhood, we're a district, a side of town. This district is working class families, and these are folks that, like I told you, that have to make those hard decisions every day, and that make that living, and that are working folks, and we're very proud of being that. But just because we're working folks doesn't mean that we have to deal with second-class services and a second-class district. I think we deserve great parks, you know, with flowers that rival Washington Park. You know, we deserve good access to transportation with DOD opportunities and light rail coming in the neighborhood. That's going to be a possibility. Yes, and you know, there's a lot of folks that will benefit from that. And it also saves the environment a little bit. We also have opportunities along Federal Boulevard. Federal, if you haven't driven down Federal looks like you're in a completely different city. It looks like you're on you go from North Federal to South Federal, and there's just a polarizing difference. And you know, we have great restaurants and great businesses, but the street's practically crumbling apart, and it's like you're riding a wave, and you're almost like riding a roller coaster when you go down South Federal.